Saiba, I'll start with you before I get in Harbhajan Singh, who's just on his way here. You know, India-Pakistan, always a high-pressure encounter. Both teams are always under pressure. But would it be fair to say two things? One, India start as the favourites even now because of their record and their recent form. And because they start favourite, a little bit more pressure on India, with Pakistan saying nothing much to lose.
Yes, I think there would be a little more pressure simply because India start is the favourites. The way India have been playing, everybody expects them to win, excepting the opposition, of course. The opposition is going to try and stop them from winning. But the expectations of the Indian cricket-loving public are so high from this team because of the way they've played that the pressure will definitely be there. Now, how do you handle the pressure? Well, obviously, I think the easiest way is to, as they keep saying, shut the noise off, which means maybe do something, don't listen to anything about cricket. Don't read anything about cricket. Just talk amongst yourself. Keep each other company. Have that little banter, etc. And keep your spirits up, but don't think about tomorrow's game.
Harbhajan, to you on this one, and this is the question that I asked Mr. Gavaskar as well. Which team do you think under more pressure? India because they are favourites, or Pakistan because they don't have a great record, so they have to correct that record? Which team? Because we often say team that handles pressure wins.
See, obviously pressure will be on both the side, but I think India will be under more pressure because India is favourite. If you look at the record of India against Pakistan, it is way more higher than any other country. So I believe that's why those expectations makes it even more difficult for those players to live up to those expectations. But every time they have done well. When we played, we done well against them. So hopefully tomorrow will be the same story again. India will be under more pressure because they are expected to win. Pakistan have got nothing to lose. If they go on to win, that's a bonus for them. So they'll probably go on to play little freely in this game, but there'll be some nerves. But India will be under more pressure.
Saibai, what do you make of India's batting approach? Because, one thing that we've gotten used to from this Indian batting side is they keep attacking all the time. And that's why you get 220, 230. But in Premadasa here, we've seen a few low-scoring encounters. With that in mind, how would you like India to approach this particular game? Bat in the fashion that they do, or no, adjust to the conditions here?
Look, it can't be reckless. It can never be reckless. It's got to be calculated aggression. And that's what we've seen so far. What we've seen is calculated aggression. Yes, occasionally it goes wrong. But I think it's a calculated aggression that is important. For example, I think you've got 12 runs in the over. You've hit 2 or 3 sixes, 2 sixes and maybe another boundary. And then now the fielders have been moved a little bit. You do not go to try and take that challenge that you want to go over the fielder and get out, because that's being silly. But if you're in the flow, and I know it's very easy to say, but if you're in the flow as a batter, then you keep doing it. And yes, you might get out. Yeah, that is the thing. But the thing is to also see which bowlers you're targeting. There are bowlers you must target for maximum runs in their 2 or 3 overs. There are certain bowlers you should be happy to say, look, I'll probably get maybe 8 runs an over from him. That's a good economy for him.
Okay, we heard from Mr. Gavaskar. He says, you got to go with calculated aggression and you have to be mindful of which bowler you target. Talking about bowlers, I'm delighted to have off-spinner with me because that's the man everyone's talking about, right? Usman Tariq. You've had the opportunity to watch him much closer than all of us because you were there at ILT20 as well. What can you tell us? Is the threat real, or are we hyping him too much?
No, he's a good bowler. He's a top bowler, quality bowler. I've seen him bowling in ILT20 recently, and they kept him only for the semis and the finals, and he went on to win those 2 games for their respective teams. So, I had no clue about this guy, what he brings onto the table, and when he saw him, he was totally a different bowler altogether. Never seen somebody like that, who can hold his position for that long and see what batsman is looking to do. It's unique kind of a style he's got, and he's got very good qualities and a lot of variations he's got. Yes, there is a hype about him, but in the end, just have to watch the ball and play the ball according to wherever it is spinning, whether out or inward. So you have to keep him, keep watching him, keep watching his hand, Obviously, people have not seen him. That's why we are talking too much about him. And of course, more cricket he will play, easier he'll become for all the batters to see what he brings onto the table. Remember Ajanta Mendes,
Yes.
when he came into the scene, he was also a mystery bowler. People couldn't understand what he was doing, and this guy is the same. These are big grounds, Nikhil. We need to be little mindful when we are looking to take him on, because these big grounds, slower wicket, he can be a very handy customer for them. So I would suggest that look to play him safe, 30 runs in 4 overs, don't give away any wicket, and you have other bowlers you can attack.
Okay, I was going to ask him, that was my next question, but he's already answered that. What should be India's approach, as he says? In fact, it's an interesting point that Harbhajan makes, because I was taking a look at some of his past data and his past performances. Every time batters have tried to take single doubles with him, he's not picked up too many wickets. Every time you've tried to attack him, that's where he ends up picking up a lot of wickets. And talking about big grounds, I can confirm, I was there at the ground, you've got the bang center wicket, so it'll be equidistance both sides. Yes, sorry, you wanted to add.
I just wanted to add, we'll have to wait and watch, how Pakistan will look to use him, and at what scenario, at the game, what point of the game they would like to use him. Would they use him for the attacking option, or would they just use him for the batters like Abhishek in the power play? In the power play, if he comes, Abhishek will take him on, because then you have so many people inside the circle, then it becomes easy for a batter to just go on over the top. But once the circle is, spread, then you have to be mindful, because these are big ground, Nikhil, and I've played a lot of cricket here in Katharama. The wicket will be on the little slower side. I think, if we just give him that credit, that he's a very good bowler. We have not seen him much, so give him that credit and look to play him safe. And the other guys, we can score off runs.
Yes, and the most other bowlers that Pakistan has had, especially their spinners, India has a good record against them. They've always gotten runs, so you can look to score against them. Saibhai is still with us. Saibhai, we spoke about Usman Tariq, and I was talking to you yesterday about him as well. But apart from him, what do you make of this Pakistani team? Are there any other threats that the Indian team need to think about when playing Pakistan tomorrow?
Well, Pakistan, I think they've got a couple of good players, but for me, there are two players who I feel that India should be really watching out for. One is and both are openers. One is an opening bowler, Naseem Shah, and the other is Saib Sadar Farhan, who I think, these are the guys who, both one with the bat and one with the ball. India will have to watch out for them. They can cause problems.
Saibhai, just a follow-up on that. In terms of the 11, what would you like India to do? There's a bit of a catch-22 situation, and we heard from Suryakumar Yadav. He said, I also don't know, should I go with a fast bowler, should I go with a spinner? Because we have such good quality fast bowlers, we have such good quality spinners. What would you like to see change in the Indian 11? Go with the same 11 or bring someone else in?
I said yesterday that I'd like to see Washington Sundar in the team because of the fact that Premadasa has been helping spinners. So yes, I think an additional spinner, but somebody like Washington Sundar who can bat down the order as well, who can bat at number 8, give it the thrust. The last 2 or 3 overs, you want some, 18, 20 runs in 3 overs. Somebody like Washington Sundar can get you those, 20, 30 runs. So yes, I think I'd like to see that. And like I said, Arshdeep has been a fine bowler, but I would like Hardik Pandya and Bumrah to be the new ball bowlers, and then the spinners come in. And you have Shivam Dubey to come in and bowl a couple in case, the new ball is wobbling out of it.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot, Harbhajan, on this one. Saibhai says, bring a washi for Arshdeep. You also make your batting very long. There's a Kuldeep Yadav who has an excellent record against Pakistan. How do I keep him out? Then you've got Arshdeep, who's your number 1 T20 bowler. What are you doing?
I think there's no need to panic, about changing the side. I think everyone in the team, if you see Arshdeep, he's a top bowler. If you leave him out and bring somebody else, that too against Pakistan, big game, pressure game, obviously those guys will feel a bit of nerve. And of course, you're talking about Washington Sundar or anybody else coming in. They are also quality players, but I think why change when everything is working for you, everything is going well. team looked good, fast bowling, spin bowling, and I don't see there is any need for the change at this point of a time. I think they just need to back their players, whether it's Arshdeep, Varun, Akshar. I think they all have quality in them to win game on their own. So why change?
Yeah, it's a very interesting point Harbhajan makes. I'll tell you why. We look at Khetarama, Premadasa, we keep talking about spinners. Take a look at the games that have happened. Zimbabwe, Australia, it was Muzrabani.
It's not those spinning tracks,
yes,
where the ball spins from the first ball. It's a slow track, obviously big ground. Spinners will come into the game. Same goes with the fast bowlers. New fast bowlers will also come into the game.
A very interesting point, because he's right, it's not a turning track. You've seen fast bowlers that have used the cutters very well. I was talking about Muzrabani, who did well.
Of course,
Evans.
he was brilliant.
Anyone who uses cutters slows it down, and we know Arshdeep does that very well. Bumrah does it very well. Hardik does it. In fact, Shivam Dube the other day was using cutters very well.
I think you have, spin and fast bowling packed. With all the three spinners, what we have is quality spinners. They can win game on their own, and even the fast bowlers. Hardik Pandya, we don't count him as a regular bowler, but he's as good as any other fast bowler. You're playing for their respective country. So I think there's no need to change. There's no need for any panic and bring another spinner. Yes, although Kuldeep have a brilliant record against Pakistan, but why change? If everything goes well for you, why do you want to do that? So my belief is just go what's working for you.
One thing India will have to change, and that is Abhishek Sharma has to come in. I'll let you know what was said in the press conference. Salman Ali Agha, when was asked about Abhishek, he said, you know what, I would want him to play because we want to play against the best. Very positive way of putting it out. Yeah. Then you heard from Surya Kumar Yadav, he was told Pakistani captain says he wants to play against Abhishek. He says, okay, if they say they want to play with Abhishek, I guarantee he's playing tomorrow. So pretty much he's told us he's playing. Now what is the message that goes out to Pakistan? Because he was outstanding in the Asia Cup versus Pakistan, Abhishek.
Oh yeah, obviously a big player when it comes to games like these. Pressure games, your first 6 over, kind of set the tone for the game. So I believe, Abhishek, bring that X factor in the team. He can take anybody on, whether it's the fast bowler or the spin department. I think Abhishek is going to be the key again, and he already have a very good record against them. Their bowler will be under a bit of pressure while bowling to Abhishek. Yeah. Whether he was fit or not in the previous game, but they remember the same Abhishek. What gave them those nightmares in Dubai in a couple of months back.
Yes, that's true. Okay, Sai bhai, what do you do winning the toss? Now, India's mantra has been, in T20 cricket, why India, everyone's mantra has been chase. But we've seen 3 games in this particular edition of the World Cup at the Khetarama. Teams that have batted first have won, and that included a night game as well. Team that batted first won. What should India do if they happen to be in a position to pick at the toss?
Bat first, if possible. They've been great chasers, but bat first, because I think that's the kind of game that actually suits somebody like an Ishan Kishan or an Abhishek Sharma if he's fit and available. That suits them because they can play their normal game. They're not restricted. They're not hampered. They don't have to think at the back of their minds about an asking rate if India is chasing. So I would think that bat first, put runs on the board would be the way to go.
Same question to you. It's a tough call to make.
No, it's not a tough call for me.
Oh, okay.
Just do whatever you get to do. Whether you bat first or bowl first. In the end, you have to just think positive and go with that mind frame. India have got great batting lineup. At the same time, great match winners in their bowling department. So Team India is playing better cricket at the moment than anybody else. Even though they were tested in their first game against USA,
yeah.
But somebody else, came and did the job for the team. And then it was other way around in Delhi. Hardik Pandya doing the job. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. Toss goes which way, but the match should go India's way. That should be the key.
But what would you like India to do if they had to make that call? Sky has won the toss. What should he do?
Well, I think you have to see the wicket. If the wicket is good, why don't you look to chase those down? And if you want to put pressure on Pakistan and score 200 plus, that's also a great choice.
The one thing that might help teams decide is there's been no dew. so far. In fact, I'm standing on grass right now and I touched it. No dew. I was there at the stadium yesterday evening time. No dew has really set in so far. So that makes the decision rather easy. Saivai, to you, finally, before we let you go, look into the crystal ball. Tell us, maybe in terms of percentage ratio, who wins for you and, who stands out for India on the given day.
Well, I won't go down to percentages way, but I'd say India definitely are the favorites because they've got some, tremendous match winners. In the batting, you've got somebody like, Ishan Kishan, Abhishek Sharma, you've got Suryakumar Yadav. They are your match winners. In the middle order, you've got somebody like a Hardik Pandya with both bat and ball who can change the complexion of the game. Jasprit Bumrah, Varun Chakravarti, these are all names, these are all match winners, game turners. So on the other hand, as when you look at the Pakistan team, like I said, the two names that I took, and maybe you can add Shaheen Shah Afridi to the mix. But therefore, I'd like to think that India are the favorites, yeah.
Same question to you, Harbhajan. What's happening tomorrow? That's the million-dollar question. That's what everyone wants to know.
What's happening tomorrow? India winning tomorrow. That's all I can say. India got a stronger team, better team, and of course India starts as favorite. But cricket is a funny game. Anything can happen. India still need to go out there and play good cricket to get this win because these are different ground, different pitch, and of course they have quality spinner in their side. So be a little mindful when you're playing against him. I think India need to tick those small boxes, tomorrow. First 6 overs, whether bowling or batting, if they do it right, I think India will be in a great position to win.
What do you think has really changed? Because, I was there at Asia Cup. I don't think too many people were giving Pakistan that much chance. They said the gap is too huge. Right now also, as you've said, and Mr. Gavaskar has said, that India go in as the favourite. But I somehow get the feeling everyone's saying it's going to be a much closer contest. What's really prompted Pakistan to bridge that gap? Was that the Asia Cup final?
No, I think it is basically the conditions. See, India is playing, fearless cricket. India is playing that kind of a cricket where if they just bat 20 overs, they can get 220, 230. And I have a bit of my own fear that with the same approach, you can get out at 120, 130. Yes. That can happen any day. We saw that happening in the first game against USA. Everybody was looking to hit the ball rather than looking to put partnership there. So, I think approach needs to be, managed tomorrow and see, those single doubles are as important as those boundaries are. So I think India need to be little mindful and plays those first 6 over where the bowl of bat, first 6 over will be the key for India.